Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Women's Migraine Freedom Group for our Tuesday migraine strategy call. For those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Debbie Waidl. I am a migraine specialist, functional health coach, and I am here to support all of you to your migraine freedom without having to use quick fixes, pills, and all of the things that you have all been trying for decades that are not working. A functional approach is an approach to medicine where we actually get to the root cause of the problem, end that root cause so that you no longer have to try to cover up that pain day to day. This is the process that we use in the Freedom from Migraine Method program, our signature program that we use to help women who have been suffering needlessly with migraines. And today I have a very special guest with me. Debbie McCarthy is here. She is a graduate of the Freedom from Migraine Method, here to share her story with you on how she went from taking triptans to try to live through her days, to try to manage through her days, to finding migraine freedom, and continues to do so each and every day. So Debbie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It is wonderful to see you. It's so great to see you smiling and happy and looking healthy. So anyway, let's jump right in and get started for everyone who's watching. So can you just share a little bit with us about your migraine journey so everyone knows where you've started from?
Yeah, so I started getting migraines in my early 20s and managed them quite well, really, for quite a while. But, you know, they were quite frequent. I took a lot of over-the-counter meds and, you know, just survived that way, really. Lots of medication, lots of Anodine Extra, which is an English over-the-counter medication that you can buy, and I never went anywhere without those. So yeah, I suffered quite a lot, but I moved north in 2011, and they really took off there, really, from 10 years ago. They got much worse and much more frequent. I always had them, but they just kind of really stepped up and sort of prompted me to go to the doctor and get referred to the neuro side of things. And then I started on the neuro journey that you get here with the doctors in the hospital, where, you know, they just go, try this, and beta blockers, and try this, you know, epilepsy tablets, and try this, antidepressants, and Botox, and, you know, the list goes on. And I tried them all with, you know, no real effects. I mean, maybe I'd get a couple of weeks of relief, but, you know, that it was still there. It was the Botox was terrible. I mean, I don't know why people pay for that, let alone, you know, having it free, but it was just a horrible thing. I just had a really shiny forehead, really, more than anything. Didn't really help with the migraines. So yeah, it was just I had some really bad ones, actually, when you know, I remember not being able to get out of bed in the morning and having to ring friends, you know, other kids' mums to take my son to school, and, you know, just couldn't function. I'm not sick very often. I wasn't sick very often. I actually vomiting probably twice a year. I would actually vomit, but the migraines were really debilitating. They ruined, you know, lots of days out and family functions and time with my family, to the point where, you know, I was just waiting for the next migraine, really. Yeah. So eventually I got sumatriptan. I had it as a tablet first, but I just felt like my head was in a vice. And somebody told me about the nasal sprays, so I went on those, and then pretty much lived on those for probably 2 years. And we get them in England. You can get a prescription of 12, and you can refill it immediately. So I would just be taking them like sweets, really. Just
yeah. I'm glad that you brought up you're in England. I figured everyone knew with your beautiful accent.
I'm in England,
because Debbie deals with the NHS, so it's a little different if you're watching in the States. You know, we have different healthcare, obviously. But as you listed off, Debbie, they kind of, you have a very specific list that you guys have to go through. Like before you can move to the next step, it's like you have to try this, If that doesn't work, then you have to try this, and then the next. And it's like this laundry list that you have to go through.
And I remember saying to my husband, these not top neuro consultants must be on like, I don't know, 150 grand a year. And I could do that. I could go to somebody, oh, you tried this, didn't work, try this, I could do this. I could do that. Not, they're not actually doing anything other than giving you a prescription. They're not, like you said, getting to the root of the problem. And I thought always it was to do with food for me. And I asked for a food intolerance test, which I was told was pretty much voodoo, and I couldn't have it. So I went to someone else privately and had this really strange thing where they put a thing on my finger and with these little vials, and told me that I was dairy intolerant and red meat intolerant. And, so then I cut all those things out. But it was, the word you used really that kind of got me was the scattergun, because that's what it was. You were just kind of trying things and hoping it might work. And there was no real strategy. It was just kind of, try this. So I remember being told I was just a headachy person, which was
when
really
I
nice.
read that, I was ready to jump through the screen for anyone to be told that they're just a headachy person and that's normal. I'd just like to stop and think on that a moment. Anyone watching this or the replay, headaches are not part of daily life. They are not something that you have to live with. They are not something you should live with. When you have, whether it's, you call it a migraine, whether you call it a headache, whether you call it, not feeling well, as my, grandmother, I just feel well today, she always used to say. That's your body trying to tell you something is wrong. So for a physician or someone in anywhere in the medical community to say that you're getting older, or that's normal, or that's your lifestyle, not acceptable. Not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. But when you're faced with that's your only option, and they're the experts, so you kind of, okay, I'm a headachy person. Then when I got Botox, I think on my 4th session, I said to the guy doing it, I think it's food. I think food has a bit. It's absolutely not food. Categorically, we were sitting there and he said to us, it's not food. It could be perhaps caffeine, perhaps alcohol, but not food, categorically. So basically you can eat what you want. And, I remember my real dad lives in Florida, and I remember him saying, well, you're getting headaches anyway, you might as well eat it, and stuff like that. I'd be like, well, I don't want to, because I know it's going to trigger it. I love a glass of red wine, but I'm not going to have one because I don't want to spend the night, with my head down the toilet and, feeling rubbish. So, it was just a category, a catalogue of try this, and you do, and you just get no relief really. So that's kind of where I've come from, and on it went until I met you.
Which brings you to when one day, as all of you, I think everyone in this group was just looking around Facebook, and obviously you search for things about migraines in the past, which is why Facebook is very smart, and they share things that they think are relevant, which we greatly appreciate. So you found me. So what made you decide that you really wanted to move forward with something different?
I think that as women, as mums, as the people who hold together a family, you don't hesitate. If it was one of your kids, if it was your husband, if it was, somebody you loved, you wouldn't hesitate to spend the money. But I think when it's you, I've always been very much like, I can't spend that money on myself. I can't, I can't have that. I can't do that. And I think that was probably my biggest resistance, and what took me the while to make the decision to spend the money, especially in England where you don't pay for healthcare. I think much more in America, you do spend a lot of money trying to try different things, but here we get a lot of stuff free, or just for the price of a prescription, which is under a tenner. So to spend a bit of money on yourself is something that's alien, to a lot of people, and especially when you haven't had much money. I was a single mum for 8 years. Money was tight, and it wasn't something I would consider doing, just going woohoo and splurging on myself. But and it is like it's a big splurge.
Yes.
And I think, when we had the call with you, my husband and I don't know, what you said made sense. It made sense to try it. to invest in myself and to see what did I have to lose. You know, at that point, my life was pretty much a cycle of migraines. And it was you know, it's about quality of life, isn't it? You know, I mean, I say this a lot with you know, we've lost 3 parents in 3 years, and it's about the quality, isn't it, of their lives. And you know, you don't want to lose them, but if they're not having a life, then you know, it's about that, isn't it? And it's about living. And I think that's what made me make the decision in the end to do it.
Absolutely. And I love that you say that it's about quality of life, because when we are looking at migraine freedom, we're not only reducing the severity and duration and frequency of migraines, but we're turning your overall health around. Because really, migraine's a symptom, right? It's a symptom of knowing that we have chronic inflammation. So when we get to the root of that chronic inflammation, we have so many people in the group that all of a sudden are like, my aches and pains are gone. My autoimmune conditions are in reverse. Poop always comes up every call, ladies. So just know, you know, we can finally go to the bathroom again. You know, we're not constipated anymore. We don't have gas. We don't have bloating. And we just feel so much better because, again, migraine is just a way for your body to warn you that something is wrong. And it's not warning you that you have migraines. It's warning you that you have chronic inflammation. So when we don't make that investment into our health, we're leading ourselves up for more disease in the future. Right now, your body's just yelling, saying you have migraines, but later your body could be yelling with heart disease, with cancer, with massive autoimmune conditions, like things that are not reversible, like type 1 diabetes, you know, things that are really severe, like multiple sclerosis. So why you made an investment into your health. And at the moment, I'm sure it was, you know, as you said, challenging, and it probably hurt in the moment. You really gave yourself the gift of health, you know, and looking at you today on this screen, your face is 110% different than the first time I looked at you, which is why I love having calls via Zoom so we can see each other, you know, and I get to see that progress over time. And I'm betting it's not just your head that feels better, but it's your whole body.
I've lost weight. I feel better in myself, always, you know, I'm sleeping better. Just the overall thing. I've lost, you know, like I said, I always had a tummy, and, you know, I look better in my clothes and I just feel better.
And absolutely. And this isn't a weight loss program, but the nice thing is when you do start shifting the things that you do to support your body, you know, if you are someone that, you know, losing a couple pounds, you know, was something you wanted to do, it tends to happen. It tends to happen just by making better choices. So, you know, like the obvious one that we know, and one that I know was hard for you, you know, is sugar. You know, and it's a big topic this week. We did our sugar challenge this week in the group. So I'm sure, hello, Kitty. So I'm sure many of you have seen the sugar challenge or were a part of it. And it is difficult, but I'm sure Debbie can talk about the fact that, you know, we really work hard at supporting you in the group to be able to be successful in that instead of trying to do it by yourself.
That is massive. The support. I was a bit sad to leave, to be honest. And, you know, I'm still in contact with a few of the ladies who were on with me. And, you know, it's a friendship group. We're all in it together.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's where the success comes in, because let's face it, there are many people out there who are working on helping women get to their migraine freedom, many different ways that women can approach this. But at the end of the day, I think it doesn't necessarily boil down to the material that I give you to learn, but the way in which we support you with that material, you know, the way that you can work with 40, 50 other women at the same time, that you can work with myself and my team, and we're there for you 24/7, even with the time difference.
Yes.
we make it work.
Sorry about my cat.
Oh, your cat is fine. We, you know, we love animals in this group, Debbie, you know that. So
he wants to make an appearance.
Mine is not here. Mine's normally, you know, sitting back here on the couch enjoying all of us, but obviously today he must not be in the mood to join us. So, so you've made absolutely wonderful progress. I love to hear you laugh. So tell me, if you hadn't found us, where do you think you would be right now? What do you think your life would be looking like if you hadn't joined?
I'd be Mrs. Suma Triptan, which is who I was before. and I'd still be Mrs. Sumatriptan, not leaving the house without at least 3 in my bag. Just, existing really from one migraine to the next. Okay. So it was just an existence, a pain-filled existence, and I would just still be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who are taking sumatriptan right now, please don't feel you have to jump off this call and stop taking them. That is not what we do. It is 100% a process, because obviously if Debbie had started the program and stopped her sumatriptan that day, she would have been in quite a bit of pain, which would have increased her stress level, which would have increased the inflammation, which is what we're working to decrease. So we would have not been serving her well by doing that. So we make sure we can get you as healthy as possible and work towards that as a goal. And there's still some people that may hold on to that sumatriptan for years, and keep it. I readily admit I was one. I used to take my maximum. In the US, the maximum is different. We only got 9 pills. That's all we got for a month. So I had to hoard those 9 pills, and I did hoard some of them. And it took me a year after I was migraine free to throw them away.
I still have some. And I still have odd occasion where I use them occasionally, like around my cycle. And you don't get results immediately, which it's not a quick fix, but I think that's because it's a build up, isn't it? You didn't become a headachy person overnight, and you're not going to become a non-headachy person overnight either. So it's it is a process. Exactly.
So know that we are not anti-meds in this group. We just work with you to get off of them as soon as possible, so that you don't have one more thing you're putting in you that's toxic, that really is only covering up the problem anyway, not getting to the root. So, for those of you who have, had migraines for 30 years, being able to reduce that severity, duration, and frequency in 4 months as you work towards that, the day that you will have 0 is massive. And that's how I was. It was 10 years with migraines, now 10 years without them. And it was a process to get there, but man, it was worth every day. Worth every day. So Debbie, I know this week or last week, your son went off to college, but what's next for you? What do you have fun that you can now look forward to in your days, because you're not looking forward to taking that triptan and going to bed and being headachy? How's your life going to change a little?
It has already. I mean, we can make plans. We can go out for dinner sometimes. I mean, it's still quite COVIDy out there. So, there's no travel on the horizon, but, at some point I'd like to be able to travel again and go and see some places. And I'm turning 50 in February, and all my school friends are starting to turn 50. So I've got a few parties to go to, that, normally I'd be like, can I go? Will I be ill that day? Now I know I can go, and I won't be ill, and I won't have to have a bigger bag, so I can carry my meds with me. I can take a little bag if I want.
Nice.
So I'm going down south. My friend Sarah has a birthday in December, so I'm going down for that. And my best friend's is in January, and mine's in February. So we've got some plans for that. To be able to do some things that maybe I wouldn't have really dared to make those plans before, because I may have had to cancel or not go. So I can go now, and I know I can go with confidence.
I love that. I think almost every single woman I have a conversation with, that is one thing that comes up: fear of making plans, feeling guilty when they have to cancel, not wanting to deal with that heartache when you have to cancel,
and being flaky, being a flaky one who's not gonna come, or or she won't come, she'll have a headache, and you don't want to be that person. It's it's important to be able to enjoy time with your friends. And we're empty nesters now, so being able to make some plans, not having to think about kids being fed and looked after and that sort of stuff is it's a new chapter, isn't it?
Absolutely. And one that I'm so glad that you can do, with actually putting things on that calendar that make you smile and keep you busy, because we do need to keep busy when our children aren't home.
We do.
I remember trying to pack my calendar full that first month my son went away to school. It's like, I have got to keep busy every day. So there's so many people watching. There's 2,000 plus women in this group right now. And the common theme I hear from all of them is I don't think this is going to work for me. It works for everybody else. It's great that I see these videos. It's great that I hear people, that have success, but, I'm so skeptical. I can't imagine it's going to work. What would you say to that person who really is still debating?
What have you got to lose? You've been in pain for a long time. You've spent lots of money already. What is there to lose? Why not try one more thing? You might be pleasantly surprised. I was.
True.
And you only get one life. Or who wants to spend it in bed?
Yeah.
Who wants to spend it in pain? Who wants to? It's giving up sugar was massive for me, and I love chocolate cake. I love anything sweet, and that was difficult for me. But weighing it up to feeling good, it was a really small price to pay. And the same with the money, really. If you can afford to do it, then do it. There isn't. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it to anybody who it's an investment in your own health, and it's alien to women to do that. But if it was one of your kids, if it was your husband, if it was someone you loved, you'd find that money. You'd find it. So why not for yourself? You're important too.
I love that because you are 100% right. And I'm going to put myself in this category too. We put everyone else first.
Okay.
We do. And I think that's motherly instinct. I mean, I think that's something that we are born with.
Yeah.
We so have to remember, it's just so simple, like the oxygen mask. If we don't put our oxygen mask on first on that plane, we're not going to be saving anybody else. And if we want to be there for our loved ones, and we want to, be the healthiest version of us for the rest of our lives. And, I know this is kind of crazy, but this is my fear. It's like, I don't want to be a burden to my children when I'm 80. Yeah. I don't want to be that sick parent, that one that they have to take care of because I didn't take care of myself. So I do everything I can now to make sure that I am the healthiest version of me when I'm older, so that I'm going to be 80, traveling on the beach, doing yoga, running
embarrassing
circles.
The hell out of them all.
Exactly. And my kids think it's hysterical. They're like, Mom, you're not going to embarrass us because that's you. That's what you do. But I'm like, I'm going to be there. I actually learned a line dance to be able to dance at my son's wedding this coming weekend. So I'm doing Footloose this weekend. I'm going to be like one of the only adults up there with these like 20 somethings doing this dance.
We get to see that, Debbie? Do we get to see that?
If I get somebody to videotape it, I will share it with the group. I promise I will. But that's the kind of life I want. And that's the kind of life I want for all of you.
Yeah.
Is to say to yourselves, yes, this is money. Yes, you can find a way to make this work. I'm going to be honest with you, ladies. I have women in this program that are on disability. I have women in this program who lost their job and signed up the same day. And the reason that they did was because they knew they had to take a leap of faith, that they had to find a way to make this work, because if they didn't, there was going to be no good future for them, and they were still going to be in pain. Mm-hmm. So where there's a will, there's a way. There's always out of the box thinking. It's just a matter of, are you ready to put yourself first? And Debbie, you were.
That is it. Are you ready to put yourself first? Are you ready to take control of your health, to be in control of the migraines rather than the migraines being in control of you?
Absolutely. And look at you now. Well, before I let you go, and I thank you again, all of you ladies are so wonderful after the program to come on and to share your experience. I love the fact that you do this for everyone else in the group, because it does mean so much. I think it is so important not to just hear from me, because I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but to hear from you ladies who have just gone through this, who know what it's like, who are living what they're living now. It means so much to them that you do this. So any last words of wisdom for anybody out there that you want to leave them with?
I did have the last words of wisdom, didn't I? I did write them. I can't remember what they were. I think just what I've said, really. It's 16 weeks out of your life that change your life forever, that really do put you back on a healthy track, that you can go and sit in all the doctor's offices you want to, you can have anything injected into your head, you can take anything, but it's about more than that. It's about your life being healthy. You know, if you're going to, I don't know, if you're going to not exercise, not sleep, not, you know, be stressed all the time, and you're going to, you know, keep popping those pills, but they're not going to make you better. They're just going to mask it, and you're going to carry on being in pain.
Those are some wonderful words of wisdom. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And I really greatly appreciate everyone that is on. Let me just double check and make sure we don't have any questions here. We have a bunch of people on. We've got Julie, Rebecca, Aaron's watching, Leslie's watching, Joe's watching, Paula's watching. So thank you everyone for popping on today. And Debbie, I know there's a ton more people who wanted to get on and watch, but with the time difference, they will be watching the replay later. So anyone, if you have any questions for Debbie, please just tag the two of us in this video. I am sure Debbie would be happy to answer any questions that you had about her journey, because she has been so wonderful to share it. So please let us know that. And for those of you who are regulars on our weekly strategy calls next Tuesday, we are going to have a wonderful interview with Amanda. Amanda is going to be coming on to chat with us about her migraine freedom. And the great unique thing about this interview is Amanda's somebody who jumped on the migraine freedom train 9 months after she started having migraines. She was in her 20s and she was like, you know what? Hell no, this is not what I'm doing. I'm going to figure this out right away, and I'm going to find my migraine freedom. So it's going to be great to hear from somebody from a different perspective, a different age group, you know, as to how they handled that. So please.
There wasn't a you when I was 20.
I wish there was a me when I was 20, because let me tell you, the things I did in my 20s created my 30s, which made that decade not fun at all.
Yeah.
But it's so wonderful to see people now being able to jump on their, you know, that health train early, unlike you and I, where we had a little bit longer we had to deal with. But now look, now you're about to turn 50 and you have a whole other half of your life that you can live 100% different than the last one.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you for being so wonderful in the group and being so supportive of everyone. Thank you for joining today. All right, we're going to sign off, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, and here's to your migraine-free day. We'll see you in the group, everybody.